He knows things. Things he shouldn't, and tonight, he's watching me. Sophie had just moved into her new apartment. It was a small, cozy place on the top floor of an old building in the city. She loved it. The view of the skyline at night, the quiet hallways, and the sense of independence. But from the first day, she noticed him. Her neighbor. A man in his 60s, pale, thin, with dark, sunken eyes that seemed to follow her wherever she went. She had smiled politely, exchanged a few words in the elevator, but something about him unsettled her. The first incident was subtle. Sophie left her apartment one morning to buy groceries. When she returned, she found a note slipped under her door. It wasn't signed. It simply said, "I know you were out this morning. Careful." She froze. Her heart raced. How could someone know when she left her apartment? She checked the peephole, the hallway, the stairwell. No one was there. The note could have been anyone. She shoved it into her bag, trying to brush it off as a prank. Over the next few days, strange things kept happening. Small things at first. Her keys moved slightly from where she left them. Her curtains were drawn when she was sure she had opened them, and faint scratches appeared on the wooden floor. And always that feeling of being watched. It was the way he watched her from his apartment. Sitting by the window, sometimes with binoculars, sometimes just staring. Sophie tried to avoid him, but she couldn't shake the feeling that he knew everything about her routine. The grocery store, the park, even her favorite coffee shop, he seemed to know where she was at all times. One night, Sophie was alone in her apartment, cooking dinner. She heard a soft tapping on the window. Her first thought was that it was a branch hitting the glass, but when she looked outside, there was nothing. The street was empty. She tried to laugh at herself, attributing it to nerves. But the feeling of being watched intensified. Later, as she sat on the couch scrolling through her phone, she noticed movement in the reflection of the window. He was there, his face pressed against the glass, eyes locked on hers. She froze. He smiled slowly, deliberately. And then, just as suddenly, he vanished. The next day, Sophie received a package she hadn't ordered. Inside was a small notebook. On the first page it read, "I see everything you do. Don't worry, I only watch." But watching isn't harmless forever. Fear gripped her. She wanted to leave, to call the police, but she hesitated. The entries inside the notebook were disturbingly detailed. He had recorded her daily routines, her comings and goings, even what she ate for breakfast. Every word made her skin crawl. Sophie tried to rationalize it. Maybe he was lonely, harmless, eccentric. But then came the night she heard the footsteps. Heavy, deliberate footsteps outside her door. Pacing back and forth, she peeked through the peephole. The hallway was empty. Then she felt it a knock. 3 short, deliberate knocks. She didn't answer. She stayed frozen, heart pounding. The next morning, her apartment door was slightly ajar. Nothing was missing, nothing was broken. But scribbled in faint pencil on the wall near her bedroom door were the words, "You cannot hide." Sophie's fear turned into obsession. She installed cameras, changed locks, tried to ignore him, but every day he seemed closer. Every glance from his window, every note slipped under her door, every movement outside, he was always watching, always. One night she woke to a soft creaking noise. Her bedroom door was slowly opening. She grabbed a flashlight, her hands trembling. The hallway was dark, but she saw a shadow slip across the wall, moving toward her bedroom. She screamed, but the sound was muffled, as though the walls themselves swallowed it. She ran to the living room, but he was already there. His eyes glinted in the dim light. Not through the window this time, not a shadow in reflection. He was inside. Sophie backed away, her heart pounding, adrenaline surging. But when she reached the door, it wouldn't budge. He spoke softly, almost a whisper. "Don't be afraid. I just watch, but watching changes things." Her hands shook as she tried to find anything, to defend herself. He didn't move closer, but his presence filled the room. The shadows seemed to cling to him, twisting unnaturally around his body. Sophie realized with terror that she had underestimated him. He wasn't just eccentric. He wasn't just creepy. He was dangerous. For nights after, Sophie couldn't sleep. She barricaded the doors, moved furniture, tried to avoid being seen. But he always knew. He would appear in reflections, in glimpses through the window, in shadows cast across the walls. Sometimes she would wake in the middle of the night to find her apartment rearranged slightly, pictures tilted, drawers slightly open, curtains moved, and always that whisper, "Watch carefully, or you might miss it." Weeks passed. Sophie was exhausted, paranoid, afraid to leave her apartment even for a minute. She tried calling the police, but he always seemed one step ahead. Notes arrived faster, detailing exactly what she had done, where she had gone, and even her private conversations. The city around her seemed normal, but inside her apartment, reality had twisted into a nightmare. Then came the night of the final confrontation. Sophie returned from the grocery store to find the building strangely silent. No sounds in the hallway, no hum of the neighbors' televisions, but her apartment door was open. Slowly, she entered. The lights were off. Shadows pooled in every corner. And in the center of the room, standing in her living room, was him. The notebook was open on the table, pages flipping slowly as if moved by invisible hands. He smiled, that same slow, deliberate smile. His eyes gleamed in the darkness. He whispered, "You cannot hide from me. You never could, but now you see. Now you understand." Sophie tried to run, but the doors no longer led outside. Windows reflected only darkness. The apartment itself had changed. It was no longer familiar. Every room twisted, hallways stretched endlessly, shadows crawling along the walls like living things. She screamed, but no sound escaped her throat. The neighbor advanced slowly, silently, shadows clinging to his feet. He didn't need to touch her to terrify her. The apartment itself seemed alive, feeding off her fear, twisting reality around her. Finally, she found the notebook. She tried to destroy it, rip the pages, burn it, but it resisted. The writing reappeared instantly. "I know everything. And now, you belong to me." Her vision blurred. Shadows enveloped her. The whispering voices returned, hundreds of them now, chanting her name, surrounding her, pressing in from every corner. She screamed again, but her voice was swallowed, her cries echoing in a void. The next day, neighbors noticed her apartment light flickering oddly. The door was locked, but a faint whisper drifted from inside, soft, deliberate. "Watch. Always watch." Sophie was never seen again. Her apartment remains occupied, but those who enter alone report strange occurrences. Windows reflect things that aren't there. Doors open and close on their own. And sometimes a shadowy figure appears at night, watching silently from the window. Those brave enough to peek claim they hear whispers of everything they've done and everything they will do. If this story gave you chills, like the video. Comment if you dare live next to this creepy neighbor. And don't forget to subscribe for more terrifying tales that will haunt your nights.